Science. So glad everybody is here this morning or evening or afternoon. Most of you it's morning, but it never fails. There's usually someone who's either traveling to a different spot or comes from a different side of the world or all kinds of things. And so I'm thrilled that you're here this morning, and I hope that this is a really fun and interesting class for you. We are going to start with a word of prayer, and then we'll be off and running. We have tons of stuff to get through today, including an in-class lab and lots of time to get to know more about you guys and for me to share things. I absolutely love that so many of you either have been in class with me yourself or have siblings that have been here. I love that, and I love this opportunity to just come together. So this is a fun thing for me. All the admin and lead up to the school year is so-so, and grading is so-so, but the time in class is the best. I love this time. So let's start with our word of prayer, and then we can get off with all the fun. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for this day. I thank you for the blessing of the students that are a part of this class, dear Lord, and I pray that as we begin this journey together, that this would just be a wonderful place for the students to learn, for them to grow, and to just experience great fellowship with others. I pray that you would create strong bonds of friendship and fellowship among the classmates, that this would be a fun place for them to get to know other people and to just enjoy these different opportunities to interact. Pray for your blessings upon the families, and as they begin their new year and things are changing and working through the beginning of the year chaos, that you would just be their rock and their peace during this time. I ask that you would be with us during class today, that there would be no technical issues, and that things would just go smoothly. In your name we pray. Amen. So, hello and welcome. I am Mrs. Lopez. This is what our class will look like when you first come in each week. You are more than welcome to play Rochambeau. It's just rock, paper, scissors. And so you'll click on player 1 or player 2 if you want to play, and then you'll choose rock, paper, or scissors, as will your opponent. And then it'll say at the bottom, it'll say one person selected this, one selected that, here's who won. Just kind of a fun way for you guys to play and have some fun leading up to class time. It will not be available during class, but then during break, we'll come back to this same section. Also, while I'm here, let me tell you one more thing. For break, we'll come back to this. You'll have more chance to play and to interact with that. I may take away the poll and put up another rock, paper, scissors at some point. And one good clue for you is that during break, I will turn on some music. When the music stops, you'll know that it's time to actually come back and participate in class. So it's kind of your way, if you're not right here sitting at your computer, if you get up and take a break, it's your way to know, okay, it's time to come back and get started again. Does that make sense to everybody? It's really meant to help you and just to kind of see how it works. Okay, so the class is 90 minutes. So you'll be here for an hour and a half. And during this time, we will, everything from class time where we actually just teach and learn to lab time to all kinds of fun. Tons of stuff that we'll do here. But you'll have an hour and a half. We will take a break roughly halfway through. I don't always promise that it's going to be exactly at 45 minutes. Sometimes we'll break a little bit early. Sometimes we'll break a few minutes late. Actually, for me, I like to break a few minutes late, mostly because then when you come back, it's like, bam, you're finished super quick. And a lot of you guys like that. But for example, today during break will be a time for you to collect materials for your lab, if you have them. If you don't, it's okay. But if you do have the materials for the lab, I will give you that list and let you collect those during break today. Okay, any other things as we're getting ready to get started here? Right, just one break. Correct, just one break. And we will have tons of things to do to entertain you during that time, but just one break. Okay, okay, that's fine. I will encourage you, if you think there might be a time today where you might be interested in coming on microphone. I will give you a couple of times today where if you're curious about that, you can. Go ahead and click meeting and run the audio setup wizard just so that you have a chance to make sure that things work. All right, let me open up our classroom so you can see what that looks like. Got a little peek at our background back there. You can now get a quick peek at our background here. Okay, and I'm going to show you something kind of fun at the beginning. We won't use it right away. We'll use it later, but something kind of interesting and fun for you. I have two different cameras. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me pause and answer the question here in chat. The question is, what did I say about Mike? And what I said was, if you think at some point today you might be interested in using the microphone, go ahead and click meeting and run the audio setup wizard so that you can make sure your microphone is good to go. Okay? Otherwise, we're kind of going, hello, are you there? And you're going, is this thing working? Okay, so I'm going to show you something fun while you guys are setting that up. You will notice right now there is a list of materials that you're going to need for a lab that we're going to do in class today. So if you already have ordered your lab kit and you've received it, during break you're going to need to collect these things. Okay, I'm going to show you something kind of cool about my own little setup here. So you'll notice, get this going for you so you can see it. Okay. So you'll notice I actually have two different camera views here. Oops, that one looks like it's on the bright side of the sun. There it goes. So this first camera view I will use when we're doing labs. So that instead of just seeing my face, you're actually getting to see me perform the lab. So you can begin to see some of our setup here, things that we're going to need today. Not everything that we need is in your view right now, but things like scissors, wire, this is a battery, electrical tape, baking soda. So I will have one view when we're doing our labs where you can view the things that we're working on. Okay, then I'll stop that view. Then I'll have a view where you can see me and I can talk to you and that kind of stuff. And so don't be thrown off. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just allows me to show you the labs so that way you can kind of see what we're doing a little better and you're not going, you're talking, but I can't see what you're doing. So just know that you have two different ways to see things during class. If you happen to pop in and that happens to be the moment where I'm using the other camera, just know it's because we're doing a lab. We're working on something with that. Okay. Kind of fun, kind of interesting, kind of entertaining for you, I hope. But you'll notice the things on the board. If you have them, you'll probably want to do the lab along with us later. And so I'll go through after break. So during break, you'll have time to collect these materials as well. Do not feel like you've got to run out of class right now and go try to get everything together. During break, you'll have time to collect these as well. But when it's time, I'll explain to you how to do the lab. I'll go through and show you the lab because maybe you don't have the materials. Maybe you can't do it with us. Not a problem. I'll go through and show you the lab as well. But if you can participate, that's even better. So I'll turn the microphone on for you during class when I'm allowing you time to do it. You should be able in the audio setup wizard to just make sure it works, if that makes sense. Okay, any questions so far so we can actually be off and running? There is, yes, this is for lab that we're going to do later today. Right. And I'll try to kind of give you a heads up. Hey, next week we're going to do this lab in class. But for the first week, it's kind of hard to tell you, hey, we're going to do it. So after that, you'll kind of know, hey, next week we're going to do this. So be prepared to have these things and know what you're doing in class. Okay. All right. Anything else I can answer? Safety goggles are not as big of a concern for this lab. There's probably not a super huge need for this particular thing, but I would definitely recommend having your safety goggles near when we're doing labs as well. Okay, so here's a fun thing we're going to do to start. I'm going to stop my video camera here for a minute. I'm going to throw a picture set up here for you, and I'm going to ask you to look at these pictures. take a minute and look at these pictures. Okay, so tell me, what do these 5 pictures have in common? I see several of you typing. What do these 5 pictures have in Okay, so here's some of your ideas. They're all white and black. They're all things you can see. They're all colorful. They're all dark. They're all photographs. They're all nouns. They all have black. All things you can see on Earth. Okay, lots of good guesses. Lots of good guesses. It's fun to kind of give you guys just the freedom to answer without really looking at any kind of guidance in it. Just saying, what do you think they have in common? Okay, I hope you don't eat the knife. Yikes. Oh, so this is a fun, non-science-y. These are all fun, non-science-y things. So here is the fun thing that they all have in common, and that is they are all part of today, August 24th. What do I mean? Well, if you look, today is National Waffle Day, it's National Shooting Star Day, National Can Opener Day, National Peach Pie Day, and National Knife Day. Who knew? Like all kinds of weird things. So I thought, isn't it National Can Opener Day? That's okay, because I showed this to my son and he's like, what is that? Why didn't you just take a picture of our can opener? That doesn't look like a can opener. So yeah, something kind of fun. Just thought I'd share some neat things about August 24th. I don't know if I'll do this every week, but it's kind of neat to see. This week, I thought I'd make them really easy, just put obvious pictures. But if I do it every week, I'm going to have to make it somewhat challenging to see if you can guess what special day that day might be. My son loves it that every once in a while, his birthday falls on or near National Ice Cream Day. Yeah, oh, there's all kinds of fun ones. Just wait, you'll see, Naomi. There's lots of fun ones. Okay, so I just thought that would be something kind of fun to share about today as we begin our adventure together. Who knew what a special day it would be with all these other things going on too. All right, so some things we're going to talk about today. Everything from class-related information, our actual classroom here. We'll talk about our class pages and some expectations there. And then we'll go through assignments that you might have, what that's going to look like. We'll talk about office hours. Right now, office hours are just by appointment because at the beginning, you never really know what day you're going to need help. And so saying I'm only going to be available on Tuesday at 3 p.m., some of you just won't be able to be there. You need help on, Friday afternoon. So right now, when you need help, send me an email and let me help you. Okay, I'll make time. We'll find a time we can get together. And then we'll go through any other questions that you might have to help you kind of get started in this little process here. So I always tease, I say, this is what I imagine everybody looks like sitting in at their computer, right? You're all sitting there with your little college graduation hat on and, neatly typing and totally no distractions. And it's just the perfect scenario for you, right? That's what we all imagine. But really, if we pulled down the screen, it'd be like children screaming and dogs barking and, tons of chaos going on behind us. So this is kind of like our ideal perfect little world, but it just never happens. But just remember, when we're in class, we're going to do our best to make sure that we don't have any like first and last names. I know sometimes when you guys join in, it automatically puts in your first and last name. So just when you get in class, correct it. It's really to protect you guys. I don't want that posted on recordings and giving away too much information. Okay, we're going to talk about that today, Sadie. I actually got a picture and an example I can show you. So that's a great question. We are going to talk about that one. Perfect. Just be sure that I like chat to be open. I like us to be able to talk and for you to be able to contribute to class. Just be sure that when you're in chat, you stay on topic. Don't kind of start wandering off, because when you do, everybody does, and it's really hard to get your focus back. So do your best to just stay on topic. I like chat, and asking random questions during the middle or telling me something that has to do with it, that's okay. That doesn't bother me. Nope, Riley is fine. I'm okay with that. Not a problem. Okay, so some information about submitting your homework. When you go to turn in your homework, you want to make sure that you turn in your homework as one file. And what I mean is, sometimes when your scanner scans pages, it scans them all as one big file. Sometimes when your scanner scans pages, each page is its own file. So we want to make sure we put them all together in one file. And I can tell you a place that will do that if you need help. A lot of times this is going to be something that I end up talking about with to your parents. And I'm happy to talk about that with them as well. So don't feel like I'm not really sure how things get turned in. Mom and Dad just kind of take care of that. No problem. Just let me know. Be sure that you turn things in on time. Things that we have due in class are usually going to be due. The work is going to be due the night before our next class. Okay, the night before our next class. Nope, don't email it to me. We definitely want to turn it in. Okay. Right, I'm telling you something. All right, let's see here. It didn't include everything. What do you mean by that, G? There were things on there that weren't there you needed. I'm just trying to. This is about the lab kit, so I want to make sure this kind of goes with some of this. Wire or tape. Okay, so the tape wouldn't be included in there. The wire looks kind of like this, which at first, when I had some people get it, they're like, "What?" It was all taped together. And there was just like a little Ziploc baggie is what the wire, it was all taped together inside there. But yes, if your kit hasn't come, it's okay. Yes, you're supposed to order a lab kit. It's on our class page. It has a little link where you can go and order. It just tells you, like, just the lab kit that comes with our text is fine. If you don't have the lab kit, remember I said you could just collect the materials as well. Either way, I ordered it, but no problem. Yes. Yes, and it's also in the back of your book. The lab materials are in the appendix of your book. Yes, correct. Appendix C in your textbook. Either one. You don't have to order the lab kit if you just want to buy the material separately. I didn't want to. I ordered the lab kit, but if you want to buy the material separately, you can do that too. And remember, I told you today in class, as we do the lab, if you don't have the material yet, I'm going to be demonstrating the lab so you can kind of see what's going to happen. But I highly encourage you, if you're waiting for a lab kit and it's already ordered, great. If you haven't ordered it, I do encourage you to go ahead and order it as soon as you can. Or to start collecting the materials for the labs. So no panic. If you didn't have it already, no big deal. We're going to work through it, no problem. And then one other thing that always comes up with specifically submitting our work, what we were talking about before. If you make a mistake, like this has happened to everybody, you go to turn something in, you turn it in, and you realize, oh no, that was the wrong file. I turned in, my math work, and I meant to turn in physical science stuff. Then all you have to do is click that little plus button where you can hand in. Just click it and hand it in again. You may have more than one file. Just put a note in there that says, Ms. Lopez, I accidentally handed in the wrong file. No problem. Okay? You don't have to say, can I turn something in again? I turned in the wrong thing. Just turn it in again. Just click hand in, that little plus sign, and hand it in again. It always comes up. People are nervous about that, so don't be. It's meant to be that way. Hand in more stuff if you have to. Some things that you will see for class assignments. These are the types of things that you will have for class assignments. Things like the on your own questions. Sometimes you'll be required to turn those in, and sometimes you will not. You'll have some additional practice from your book or some additional practice that I could give you. Like this week, for example, we have additional practice that's just in a plain worksheet form so that you get really, really good at the conversions. You're going to have reading that's assigned as part of your homework, and then you'll have labs that are assigned as part of your homework. Those are kind of the big things that you'll see. The additional practice could mean like the study guide or the summary that's from your textbook. But most of what we're going to do is really going to be focused around helping you understand physical science more. It's not busy work. I just don't give you tons and tons of things, just so that you know that. Okay. So let me pause for a minute and say, what questions do you have? And I'm going to look through chat. There's some of them that you've asked that we've already answered, but if we haven't, I'm going to talk about that. Are we doing any writing? We'll do some writing, but mostly what we're going to do is going to be focused around stuff like writing that involves practice from stuff in the text. We aren't probably going to do very much just free writing type stuff. What else? What other questions do you have? Anything else you can think of? I don't know. Camera a little bug-eyed on you there. There it goes. Sorry, it gets kind of weird. Can we use non-electrical tape? You absolutely can. For today's lab, you absolutely can. I used electrical because I had it. If I didn't have it, I would have just used plain tape as well. Is this class hard? I don't know. I don't think it's going to be incredibly hard as long as you're willing to do the work. As long as you're willing to get your stuff and get it done on time. I really don't think that it's going to be terribly hard. Okay, so the student workbook, this came up. It's going to come up again later, but I was going to tell you. Along with our textbook, you had the option to buy this little student notebook. Looks like this. It's a spiral bound thing. I really, really like it, and I would encourage you to get it. And I would especially encourage you to get it. Like, let me give you an example. My middle son is dyslexic and has dysgraphia, which means it's a struggle for him for the reading, and then the writing makes it even harder. So he's the type of person I would absolutely buy this for, because here, we'll stop the video camera and come back on here in just a second. Because then he won't have to copy down all these additional work and things like that. I would really encourage him to have it. Also, it gives you like data tables, for example, on the labs that we're going to do, or some general information about specific topics that we're covering in class. So I would encourage you to have it, but I do not require it. Okay, if that gives you that. And then if we have to turn something in, like if I say turn in, let me show you here in just a second. Let me see if I can use my lab camera here and get you a better view of the student notebook. I don't promise, but I'm going to try. Okay. Let me turn it up. It's upside down. Let me turn that the right way. Okay, so here's an example of the lab notebook. So a place for you to gather notes when you're reading, for you to kind of follow along, but then also, you get to one where it shows you. Here's the on your own questions that are in your textbook already written out for you that you can answer. Okay, so you can actually go through and do that. Then, let me see what, for example, in the very back, this is a data table that goes with one of the specific labs. And so you're not having to rely on doing that. So this serves not only as a guide with the things that we're doing here in class, but also it serves as a lab notebook, because you are definitely going to need a lab notebook. If you have this student notebook, it looks like this. If you have this student notebook, use it as your lab notebook. However, if you don't, that's fine. Just get a little composition notebook, but I highly encourage you to get one that has the graph squares on it. This one was on sale at Staples for like the 1 cent, 50 cent sale. Like I got it for less than $1. I think this was the 50-cent variety, but just I encourage you to get one with the squares in it, because when we do labs, a lot of times we'll do write-ups that involve graphs, and so having the little graphing squares just makes it easier. It is not required for you to have a student notebook, but I definitely encourage it. I will, if for example we're doing labs and we're doing on your own questions, I will tell you, you can either do this in your student notebook and you need to do these pages, or just do it from the text and you'll need to do these pages. Okay. If you have both, that's perfect. Absolutely great. Okay, let me go back. If we need an extension, do you email me? Yes, But I will tell you, like, I don't give an extension for just everything. Sometimes, like, you have to kind of take on some of that initiative to get some stuff done. And since you're going to kind of know how the class flows pretty quickly, a lot of times you won't, you'll put yourself in a good situation that you don't need it. But if there's a time that you do, yes, email me for sure. Okay. Yes, the OYO are the on your owns, and they're written in your textbook, and I can show that. But then, like I told you earlier, you can also find them if you have the student notebook. They're listed in here. It'll say like on your own question 2.1, on your own 2.2, like that. Other questions. And again, I just thought it'd be helpful for you to be able to look at it a little bit in case you don't have it. Some people think, I don't need it, I'm fine, no problem. It wasn't that expensive. I want to think about $20 to $25 maybe for that particular thing. I've got some places locally here I could buy it, but I ordered mine online. So it's completely up to you and your parents. But especially if you're one of those who you need places to help organize it, because like I told you, it also has reading notes that you can take as you're going through and doing the chapters and different visual graphics and things like that. So if you're one of those that you're still kind of learning the process of studying and preparing, it may help you. Good point, Riley. Absolutely. Save your homework. That's right. Good. Okay, perfect, Sadie. And if you don't have it for week 1, but then you have it by week 3, for example, not a problem. Where are the links for the lab student notebook? So I just listed it in our class as an optional thing for you. Okay, and let me see. I believe it's on the very front. I want to make sure I'm telling you the right spot. I believe that it is on the welcome page. Just as you come in, it says that's where you can find information about the lab materials that you might need. Under class materials, it has the textbook, it has lab materials, and it says optional exploring creation with physical science student notebook, and it gives the ISBN number there as well. Okay, good deal. Any other questions that you can think of? This is completely your opportunity to make sure that you understand. The lab kit is on the class page too. So all it says, Lene, there is the list where you can find the list. But I will be more than happy to put a link there if you want. There are tons and tons and tons of places that you can order it. Home Science Tools has it. I know some people bought them when they were going through that. No, it doesn't have a link. It just says you can find them. And I'm putting my book back up here so that I can show you something. I'm actually putting the text up here. Don't laugh at my book. I know that I'm a nerd and I'm okay with it. You can tell. I'll show you why I say that in a minute here. So you can see in my textbook, I have like all the different colored tabs for the first few modules because it'll tell like what labs we're going to do and what order and what things like that. I already know that. But if you flip back here to the very back at Appendix C, go way back here. In Appendix C, it's broken down by module. So it will say, kind of hold up the bottom there. See how it says Module 2, and that lists all the materials that you will need for Module 2. I just referred you back to this to tell you what to buy. However, if you prefer to buy the lab kit in place of that, which is exactly what I told you what I did, do that. Okay, I can, Lene, if you'll send me an email, I can send you some links for places that you can buy the lab kit. But any place, it's just Apologia's lab kit that goes with Exploring Creation through Physical Science. How long will homework take approximately? I would say, okay, so let me start with excluding the reading, because some people the reading will take 20 minutes, and some people the reading will take an hour, and some people it'll take, 45 minutes. The reading is reading, so I never know how to say that. But excluding the reading, I would say roughly an hour to 2 hours for the week. Okay, excluding the reading, because we always know everybody reads at a different pace, so giving a hard and fast rule for reading may not be perfect. But excluding the reading, I would say probably 1 to 2 hours a week is pretty, yeah, no, not bad at all. And again, that's over an entire week, not 1 to 2 hours a day for every day. We're talking about for the entire week, 1 to 2 hours. And then you're reading for your modules, spread that out over a couple of days. Don't feel like you have to do all that in one day. Yes, and we're talking about week to week, correct. And some weeks it'll be, for example, if there's a week where we have a lab, for example, it may take you a little bit longer because you have to set everything up and then you have to clean up when you're done. Again, that all factors into it somewhat, but as far as the actual learning portion of it, where you're actually completing the lab, most of the labs are pretty short that you would do at home. And I've tried to strike a good balance between the labs that we do together here in class and the labs that we do on your own during the week. Okay. And I would say I try to at least split it pretty close to 50-50 if I can. Half the labs we do together in class, half the labs you do at home. So that, and it, like, for example, there's one lab in module 2 that asks you to be dealing with fire and to have hydrogen peroxide and test the flame. I love you guys, and I'm sure you're very competent, but because my own mother craziness kicks in, we're going to do that lab as a teacher demonstration lab in class. So I'm not going to say set it up and you do it yourself. I'm not going to say do it during the week on your own. I'm just going to show it during class. If your parents feel confident and you want to do it on your own, not a problem. But I try to be respectful of you guys and know that sometimes there's just labs that are a little harder to do. Okay, if you want to do them by yourself, do them. I'm in no way telling you you can only do what I'm telling you, only what I assign. And then I'll also make it a point at the end of class today to tell you which lab we're going to be doing next week in class so that you can see, okay, we're doing this lab. I need to make sure I have all the materials collected. Again, for week 1, there was no way for me to tell you you needed to have these things ahead of time. Some of you are just like happy that you finally made it into class. No worries. But from here on out, I'll tell you, next week we're going to be doing lab 1.3. Make sure you have your stuff. Yes, yes. I highly discourage setting your couch on fire. Correct. Yes, definitely do that. Get that out on week 1. Make sure we say that up front.